Well, good afternoon, all. I'm State Senator Shelley, Mayor from the 37th Senate District. When I'm not in my district, I'm in fantastic Verplanck, New York, with this extraordinary scene behind us of the Hudson River and a historical point of great importance in New York State. So good afternoon and happy St. Patrick's Day. And despite the weather, I'm thrilled to be here in Verplanck with my friends and my colleague, Senator Pete Harckham, Revolutionary Westchester 250 President Connie Kehoe, Living History Education Foundation founder and President Joe Ryan, Barry Sermon on behalf of the Westchester County Office of Tourism and Film Deputy Director, Town of Cortland Councilman Robert Mays, Dr. Iris Giroud, French historian who spoke yesterday about the American Revolution, Jeff Canning, and Janet Burwell from National Washington Rochambeau Revolutionary Route Association, Inc. And if I let anyone else out, Jim Cortland. Oh, he's here, okay. And Jim Creighton, Cortland Town Councilman. Thank you so much. We are here to celebrate something that was a long time in the making, but a very important starting point, which is the formation by the signature of the governor of a bill to create a 250th commemoration that will allow New York State to go ahead and plan for the 250th commemoration of the American Revolution. And right here where we're standing, Verplanck's Point, also known as King's Ferry, was a critical location for General George Washington and the Continental Army, not only during their escape out of Westchester from the British after the Battle of White Plains in November 1776, but also for General Rochambeau on his march to victory in Yorktown, Virginia. Now, Governor Hochul signed our bill, the 250th Commemoration Act, on February 24th, 2022. And this act creates a 21 voting member commission that includes a wide range of stakeholders and encourages creation with the goal of a plan to have a real commemoration. And it creates a special fund to accept federal and state funding. And I'm very pleased to say we've already secured $50,000 for the fund in last year's budget, anticipating the passage of this bill. And ultimately, New York will be part of the national commemoration of the 250th anniversary. It's a unique opportunity to educate and inspire New Yorkers about our state's leading role in the American Revolution, the subsequent civil rights struggles, and our state's nation's complex history. But New York played an immense role in the lead up and execution of the American Revolution during the period of 1774 to 1783 and was the site of several important battles. We're going to form this commission. It has members that are appointed by the governor, by the majority leaders and minority leaders of both houses, and we're going to have this commission get going. And not only will it have great historic benefit to our state and to our nation, it will have tremendous benefit for the tourism industry here in New York. So there's many people to thank, but I have to thank President Connie Kehoe, who was relentless in her pursuit of this, to her credit. Thank you to my assembly sponsor, Carrie Warner from Saratoga, New York, and Senator Pete Harckham, my co-sponsor, and my other colleagues who supported getting this bill through. We had to amend it again, but ultimately persistence paid off, and we have a bill. Now we're going to have a commission, and then we're going to move forward with a plan to honor and celebrate this extraordinary victory. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Senator Pete Harckham. And MaryJane. County Legislator MaryJane Shimsky is here, a part of the County of Westchester's commitment to working with us to actually implement this commission.
Thank you so much, Senator Mayor. Good afternoon, everybody. And welcome to Verplanck in the town of Cortland, and welcome to the 40th Senate District. Welcome to those of you from near and those of you who came from far. Welcome. It's great to have everyone here. But mostly, I want to thank Senator Shelley, Mayor, and Connie for their incredible work in getting this really important piece of legislation across the finish line, which will allow us to participate in the celebration of the 250th anniversary. So I really want to thank her, because it's not always easy getting these things through. and she is a tenacious legislator, as you all know. So our great thanks to her. And as she said, we stand on historic ground. The entire Hudson Valley is steeped in the history of the Revolution. Sorry. The Hudson Valley is steeped in tradition and history of the Revolutionary War, and this is really sacred ground. This is Verplanck's Point, and this is where George Washington had his encampment. This is where they went back and forth across the Hudson. This is where they joined forces with Rochambeau and the French Corps. So it is really a very, very important spot historically in American history. So it's in this context that we want to bring this history alive to students all across New York State, and that's what Senator Mayer's bill will do. And why this is important is because the spirit of the revolution is still steeped in our democracy. It's in our DNA that we don't like government telling us what to do. And we see that on a daily basis from the left, from the right, and that's been kind of the essential tension of our democracy since its founding. The role of government, the size of government, the scope of government, but it all goes back to the Revolutionary War, and thanks to Senator Mayer's bill, our school children and the people of New York State will be able to fully participate in the 250th anniversary. So I'm thrilled to be here, and once again I want to thank Senator Mayer, I want to thank Connie, and I want to thank all of the assembled VIPs who are here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So County Legislator MaryJane Shimsky and Barry Sermon, who is here from the County Office of Tourism, but I want to say we've had a commitment from County Executive George Latimer to be very much a partner as we roll this out in Westchester. Of course, it's going to be a statewide effort. So MaryJane, come and say a few words, and then Barry.
Thank you very much, Senator Mayer. The County Board of Legislators was happy and proud to pass a resolution in support of the Mayer bill. And what's coming up in 2026 is very important to all of us. It's an opportunity for us to show our history to the rest of the country and the rest of the world. It obviously can have great economic benefits for our businesses. It can help our local economies. But more than that, it gives us a chance to take stock in our country and in our democracy, where we came from, where we are, and where we think we could go and where we can make things better. So I am very, very happy that the state of New York is taking the lead on doing this, and I look forward to seeing all of our local historical societies and cultural and educational institutions putting forth what we have to offer in terms of the American Revolution. Thank you very much to everyone who helped so much.
Thank you. On behalf of County Executive George Latimer and the Westchester County Tourism and Film Office, Natasha Caputo, I'd like to thank everybody for making this happen. We're very excited about using the history of the American Revolution and Westchester County as another driver for economic development through tourism here in Westchester. We have many things that attract people to come here from New York City and from around the state and around the country and around the world. And this particular site and this particular part of our history is one that we're excited to highlight over the next several years. And we look forward to working with all of you to make that happen and to bring more visitors to Westchester County. Thank you.
Thank you. I say it's a little personal to me because as I was growing up in Yonkers, many years ago, my father took me to every historical site he knew so that I would learn. I didn't get to Verplanck, I'm sorry, all of the places in our history. And we want that for every kid, regardless of whether they have a father who does it, to take them to experience the extraordinary history we have right here at home. And for my kids in Yonkers and Mount Vernon, places where they don't see this. This is the opportunity of a lifetime to come to see how American history was made right here. So it's personal to me, and so I feel strongly about it. Councilman James Creighton and Councilman Robert Mays, we want to say a few words before we turn to Connie Kehoe, really my partner in this effort.
Thank you so much, Senator. It is so great to have so many people here in the town of Cortland, here with my colleague Robert Mays, and we bring good wishes to all of you from our new supervisor, Dr. Becker. This is an amazing place. It's a place that we knew on the town board we need more people to see it. We wanted our neighborhoods to know it's here. We have our concert series and movies here, but there's so much history, and we are so proud to share it with all of you. So looking forward to the next couple of, next 5, 6, 7 years as people start to learn more about our historic Verplanck and the town of Cortland, and can't wait to really celebrate. So thank you so much for being here, and we appreciate the opportunity to join in the celebration.
Thank you so much.
My colleague said it well. It's definitely our pleasure to welcome everybody here to Verplanck to have this kickoff event. It is this area is deep rooted in history, and it's fantastic that this can be the kickoff for this type of progress. History is something we should all learn from and study and dive into, and it's great that we are starting, that our Senator Harckham and Senator Mayer are taking the initiative to kick this off a few years ahead of time so we can be prepared for when this comes a few years from now. We're all looking forward to it. I'm glad you all are here. I hope you all can stay and learn a little bit more about the local history and dive into our local community. I'll tell you one thing, you know, we mentioned the kids, and I think it's important that our kids do get a little bit of a look at our history. I know my son is personally a history buff. I've got a few pictures of these fine gentlemen back here. I can't wait to go home and show them. Thank you for coming to our beautiful town, and stay a little while, please.
Thank you. So next is my pleasure to bring up Connie Kehoe, the president of Revolutionary Westchester 250, and really the force in many ways behind the passage of this bill.
What were your expectations? I'm thrilled to be here today. This has been a long time coming, and I think I'm getting the title Nudge in Chief here.
That's good.
So nudge is good, right? When the outcome is good. I mean, it's not just me. There are so many volunteers over the last 4 years. I mean, there are folks here from the DAR. There are folks from historical societies. My contractor's assistant came yesterday to hear Iris DeRode speak. There is a wide range of interest in Westchester County's history of the American Revolution. Well, frankly, the Hudson Valley. So I guess, you know, I think that we're at this point where we have shown over these years that there's a lot of interest here in Westchester. Yesterday, when Dr. DeRode spoke, this is Thursday at 4 o'clock, there were 85 people in Yonkers. There's some folks here from Yonkers. And there were 89 people on Zoom, including MaryJane and Senator Mayer. I mean, I'm sometimes overwhelmed by how much people are so hungry for this history. It's an amazing history. I realize I've gotten immersed in this so much, but when somebody hears a little bit from Iris, DeRode, that is, Dr. DeRode, or sees Rob Bucheri, I mean, they start asking questions. And I would say there are many avenues to get people involved. Some love what Joe Ryan does. Some love a history lecture. Some want grants to do research. I mean, the money that I think will flow from this,
Yes.
I would see it. There are parades, there's research, there's celebrations, memorials, parkland. There's so many projects that need those funds. So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Shining beyond.
I know, yeah.
Now we have Dr. Iris Giroud, a French historian, but more important, really a brilliant speaker on the French participation in the American Revolution. Thank you for joining us.
So thank you everybody to invite me to this special event. Thank you very much to Connie, of course, to invite me for a 1-week trip in this beautiful area of Westchester County to go to the places where those that I'm studying, so the French who joined the Continental Army, who were allies of the Continental Army, where they all went in this beautiful region, and you can really imagine and understand what a complicated mission they had to travel here through the hills and through the well-fortified British encampments. And so the logistics of this operation that the French have done here becomes very tangible and very personally. You can see it, you can go there. And that is what would be, I think, quite inspiring for the future here of getting tourism, French tourists. French tourism, of course, would be great, but also, of course, to educate the local inhabitants here of their very rich history, because what most people might not know is that New York was one of the most important, crucial places where decisions have been made. The process leading to Yorktown, the final victory, was created here. And so the first part of the real French-American cooperation was all happening around here. And so I'm very happy to be here today, and I'm really hoping for the 4 years to come to become a fruitful collaboration between French scholars like myself, but there are other initiatives of French scholars and more also European universities coming together in a project called America 2026. That could also be a part of creating a larger academic community doing more research, because the French story is not told yet. There's a lot more to do. Personally, I'm working on unpublished papers of one of the major generals called Chateauneuf, that I have discovered in his personal, like his family castle. And there's a lot of other castles to explore to find even more documents about the French in New York and around here, to uncover and tell the new stories in a more, let's say, complete story about that friendship that, of course, lasted up until today, a friendship with the same values like the republicanism and democracies and freedoms, equalities, that are still, of course, the French-American factors and friendships today. So thank you very much.
And next we have Joe Ryan, the Living History Education Foundation founder and president, and all these fantastic gentlemen and ladies who are dressed so beautifully are all attributable to his efforts and his project. So look forward to that.
All right, there'll be a test after this. I spent 32 years teaching in this district. All right, first of all, you were saying it's St. Patrick's Day, and this big Irishman is standing here in a red coat. Okay, he's not too bright. Well, that's true anyway. Please, I welcome you to our wonderful town. The Living History Education Foundation was founded here and office in Buchanan. I am a trustee of the fire company here too in Verplanck. Okay, cut to the chase. Why am I wearing this uniform? This is Dillon's Irish Regiment in French service, which served in Rochambeau's army. The French king liked his Irishmen in red. Walsh's and Dillon's were in red. He liked his Swiss in red. He liked his German Principality troops in blue, and of course the French in white. All right, now we have right down this line one of the master teachers, that's John Speebrook in his 5th New York Regiment, which fought in this area. It's Continental Line regular. We have Dr. Jim Johnson, military historian of the Hudson Valley. He is a corporal, color bearer. He's carrying the King's colors of Dillon's. And we have Militia General Connie Keogh, ever present. She has a uniform, which one of these days she's going to wear, and then we're going to have to give her a sword like yours. This thing is costing me, you know? All right. Commander Rob Bucheri, Commander of the 5th New York. The Dillons and the 5th are all part of the Living History Education Foundation. His Excellency George Washington, our French Vive la France. As a matter of fact, I received the Order of Saint Louis in Paris in 1983. That's okay. That's another story. There's a million stories in the Naked City. The bottom line is, we fought a revolution here for our freedom, and we got help from the French and the Spanish as well, and then the French, of course, sent our army here. It is very significant, as I was talking to Dr. Jim Johnson This the heck with this microphone. The bottom line is, it is kind of significant. Oh, they need to record me? Oh, God. All right. Bottom line is, today in Ukraine, they're fighting for their freedom, and they're getting help from NATO, led by the United States. So it's kind of interesting to be a French soldier here in Verplanck. The French and the Spanish, of course, helped us win our revolution. In the early part, they didn't put boots on the ground. In the early part, 10,000 muskets, uniforms, etc. All right? But as Dr. Johnson and I were talking, history does not repeat itself, but there are trends. And the other side of the coin, our 250th of this republic, still standing, is coming up. And our politicians, I know they get, you know what, beat out of them all the time. Bottom line is, we have people like Senator Mayor, Senator Harckham, and we got a town supervisor. You know, we got people who really care. And this government does work by the people, for the people. And we are on historic ground, and it's great. And I'm going to teach you how to cheer. We don't go hooray, okay? Or woo. We don't do that stuff. We say huzzah. Can you say huzzah? Huzzah! 3 cheers for freedom. Hip hip! Huzzah! I can't hear you. Hip hip! Huzzah! I still can't hear you. Hip hip! Huzzah! Thank you.
Okay.
First time Joe ever spoke in front of me. Good job, Joe.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Commander.
And thank you for talking about our brothers and sisters in Ukraine and our collective efforts on their behalf, and proud to wear their pin today. Jeff and Janet from the National Washington Rochambeau Revolutionary Route Association. It is a mouthful.
Wow.
But thank you for coming, and we look forward to hearing from you both, or either of you. Janet?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senator Mayer, and everybody who
Come to the mic.
And thank you so much to Senator Mayer and to everybody else whose persistence has paid off today with this important new legislation establishing the Commission for New York State for the American 250th anniversary. My name is Janet Lee Burnett, and my dad, Charles Lee, was a bicentennial commissioner for the American Revolution bicentennial celebration. So here we are again. You know, I feel so glad to be here. And like your father, my dad took me everywhere, and I followed in his footsteps all over. And I'm mentioning this partly because as a historian, and he served on the national level and the international level in historic organizations, he was always telling me as a child that New York State really was the center of national history, especially when it came to the Revolution. And here I am. Our organization, the Washington Rochambeau National Historic Route Association, is a 501c3 that supports the National Park Service. And our mission is to bring to life the help that the French gave to us, which is embodied in the Washington Rochambeau National Historic Route, which goes from Massachusetts, Rhode Island, all the way down to our eventual victory in Yorktown. And without the help of our friends, the French, we believe that we might not have won this wonderful victory for independence throughout the world and become the icon of democracy and a real image of inspiration forever. Now, especially, who was mentioning Ukraine? Yes, please. It's a very important spot that we're on right now, which is a part of the National Historic Route designated by Congress and supported nationally. Right here, all the thousands of troops that Rochambeau brought with him from France, not to mention weaponry, finances from the king. It was an amazing contribution to revolution, to freedom all around. But at this spot, the thousands of troops, along with Continentals, crossed the Hudson River. On barges, on boats, their cattle were with them, all their ammunition, their cannons, thousands crossing the Hudson. None of us could even do that today. You know, as a group, we cannot do that. And there they were, crossing secretly. Remember, Manhattan was taken by the British at that point. We're not far away, what, 40 miles, 50? Yes. In secret. And without GPS, without a motorboat, it was an amazing feat that the world deserves to know. And we deserve to have the tourists come knowing that, local people to know that. Imagine thousands of people crossing the Hudson River right now, floating, swimming. Cattle swam, the horses swam. It was an amazing, amazing event. It just thrills me to think about it, and it thrills me today to be here knowing that, yeah, my dad was right. New York is really part of a wonderful historic moment in national history and world history, but New York is a centerpiece, and Westchester County and this spot is a centerpiece for that victory and that longing for freedom that everybody, every person in the world has, and that this spot embodies to me. And so thank you.
We timed it well because the rain is coming, but it doesn't really matter. I want to thank a few people. Andy Bruder, my counsel, who helped write this bill, which had to go through multiple iterations, shall we say. Governor Kathy Hochul, who signed the bill with some changes, but she got us here. And Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins, who last year put the money in even before the bill had been passed, because I asked to hold that money there because I knew eventually we would get there. And this is really a transformative time that we've created this commission. I look forward to working with it. If people are interested in being considered for membership, they should email my office and we'll submit your names. It's going to look at the full history and also what more must be done to ensure equality for everyone in our great country. This is a very, very patriotic moment for us to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody.
Three cheers! Hip hip! Huzzah! Come on, hip hip! Huzzah! One more time, hip hip! Huzzah!